says 185 hours or more played. Like how many hours is that? How many days is that?
Sporting events, weddings, graduations, concerts. With so many events being canceled in the real world, gamers have had to come up with creative ways to still hold the special ceremonies they otherwise would have missed out on. The bulk of these ceremonies have taken place on a cartoony Nintendo game called Animal Crossing. Heard of it?
So Animal Crossing is kind of a life simulator. The best way I could describe it. Basically, you have a character who moves into a town, or for this fact, the newer game, it's an island.
You basically live this idyllic life there.
It just lets you kind of run wild, and so far I haven't seen much that you can't pull off in the game.
It's not a game you can complete in a day, or even a month, as most of the progression is locked behind time-based events. This constant need to check in order to progress has made Animal Crossing the perfect answer to fighting quarantine boredom, even for people who have never played a video game a day in their lives.
Oh my god, I have a present. I'm Sam Ansbro, and I, like everyone else, have been stuck in quarantine for the last couple months. I think I've played this game. I don't even want to know how many hours I've played this game in total since I've gotten it, but it's been a lot.
According to a Verizon data report, there has been a 75% increase in gaming traffic these last few months, as people have been spending their time indoors.
I think there's a lot more people picking up games either for the first time or again because of the pandemic. Outsold just about everything else that I can think of that's come out since March.
With all these new gamers flocking to the scene, getting your hands on a console has proven very difficult and very expensive.
Well, my boyfriend plays a lot of video games, but I personally never really did. But with quarantine, I've been really bored and I wanted to play Animal Crossing with him. So we started looking online. There was like literally nothing at all. Everything was sold out everywhere. And then we found one on bestbuy.com. It was literally like the last one in Manhattan.
I'm not shocked that it's sold out. It is a good indication that video games are, getting into people's lives who may not have experienced it before because they didn't have time to do it then, but now they have that time.
Especially Animal Crossing just blew up during quarantine. Like, so many people I know that don't even video game got a console just to do that, just for that game.
That's Alyssa Matasha, a nursing student whose graduation was canceled because of COVID-19. But Animal Crossing and Alyssa's creative brother Mitchell provided a solution.
Before quarantine began, we had this kind of plan that I would come from New York down to Cincinnati and go to her graduation. Unfortunately, after everything changed due to COVID, I decided that it would be a good idea to give her a sort of virtual graduation.
He kept texting me like, you need to be free 2 p.m. on Saturday. And I was like, okay, like I'll try. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be drinking some champagne, celebrating. So, I was not expecting it at all, especially all the detail that he had in the game itself. Like, he had a canvas of like my profile picture on Instagram, and then on the other canvas he had my college logo. I just thought it was meaningful to have something, and even though it was on a video game, it like truly did feel like that we made the best that we could out of what we were having to deal with.
Honestly, up until this point, I was not into video games.
Emma Rizzo held a virtual graduation for her friend Kevin, a to-be epidemiologist. The guest speaker, New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
A friend of mine said, what if we got a public figure to come on to Animal Crossing and do a commencement speech? And we immediately thought of AOC because we knew she had been visiting people's islands in the days prior. Didn't really expect to hear anything back, but she immediately DM'd me and she ended up joining our game and giving a little speech. Since our friend's degree was in epidemiology, it was very timely with what's going on right now. So she talked a lot about the importance of scientific advancement.
Congratulations, Kevin!
Virtual graduations, date nights, and even wedding ceremonies have flooded the internet as people try to maintain a sense of normalcy during these difficult times.
It was our anniversary, but we were in quarantine, so couldn't go anywhere. We just walked around his museum, and it was really fun and kind of made me forget that we were having an anniversary date in quarantine. It was nice to actually feel like we celebrated something, even though we didn't go anywhere.
My birthday happened during all of this, so I can't go have a real birthday party or even just go out to dinner with friends or even with my partner, but I was able to have that virtual fun.
Like, it's like this kind of crutch for people now that they kind of like, we need something to fill our time. You know, we need something to look forward to every morning. And if it's Animal Crossing, you wake up and you do something virtually, if that does it for you, then that's great, you know?
When my friends and I play Animal Crossing together, we'll, turn on a Zoom or FaceTime and catch up about life, and it gives us an excuse to spend more time together, even if it is just virtually. So it makes being isolated more bearable, for sure.
Because we're all going through this, like there's not one person who's not dealing with this same situation. So it's kind of a time for me to connect with people online and talk to them about like how they are feeling, or talk about their days or how I'm feeling.
This is a social thing for a lot of people. This is a thing that people can connect through, and you can make a lot of sound friends through it. And not only that, you sort of have friends that you can connect with that you don't see very often. And that's the most important part for me.
Kind of used it as almost an outlet. Like when I'm playing on it, I'm kind of zoned out on what I'm doing and focusing on that instead of the anxiety that I might be experiencing outside of the game.
My mother passed away a few days before it came out. For me, it was everything kind of crashed to a standstill. With COVID, can't really do funerals. It was a way for me to cope. It was a way for me to work through some things by being so focused on, I'm just going to build my island. That's all I'm going to do today. So for me, it's been a mental health lifesaver. And, I know people will scoff at that, but when you suddenly lose a parent, regardless of the relationship to that parent, there are days where you just can't function.
I don't think I'll ever be able to look back on quarantine and not think of Animal Crossing, because it was like pretty much the only thing that made everything feel kind of normal and gave me some sense of purpose in this whole thing. It got me through.
So what have you been playing during this quarantine? We want to keep the conversation going. Follow us at NBCLX and visit us at lx.com.